Rain or shine in Portland, Oregon, it seems Powell's is the refuge of choice for book lovers.
There you go, thanks.
Thank you very much.
You can see them when they walk in the front door. There's this, oh wow, I found it kind of look in their eye.
There is.
Store manager Miriam Santz sees it every day.
They walk in the door and they feel like they're surrounded not only by million volumes that potentially they're interested in reading, but by a culture and by staff that are in love with the same thing they are, which is that feeling when you open a book and you read the first sentence and you fall into a different world.
An exotic world, says longtime clerk Chris
We've got
Fox.
stuff Romanian, books in Romanian. We have books in Celtic. We've got books in Icelandic. We use books from all over the place, all over the world. We've got books in languages we don't even know what they are.
It's a gentle giant of a bookstore, the biggest in America, occupying one full city block, where the many departments are color-coded, and first-time visitors need a map to find their way around.
It's been fabulously successful. People like that mix, new and used.
And a few million books later, you have...
Yeah, somebody says, how come you have so many books? And I say, well, you know, you buy two, sell one. After a while, you own a lot of books.
It was Michael Powell's late father who opened the store in 1970. And the philosophy of selling used, hard-to-find books, along with new ones, that's made it so successful and huge. This sprawling, independent bookseller, a dinosaur in today's retail world, just keeps growing.
Well, we just went too far. Right. There we go.
It's reassuring that you get lost.
I get lost too, right?
There's every subject here, acupuncture to zines. Those are limited print magazines. Tattoos to teachers to television.
Volcano!
Yes, books on volcanoes too, displayed in a comfortable atmosphere so revered by customers that it's been the site of 2 weddings and almost 1 funeral. A patron's asked that his ashes be spread among the book stacks. At Powell's, customers are encouraged to browse to excess.
Do you have regulars who more or less camp out here because it is so comfortable and library-like?
I had someone call me at 2 in the morning once and said, damnedest thing, I can't find any way out or anybody else in the store. And I had to come down and unlock the building and let him out. He'd found a nice quiet corner and ignored the fact that the store had closed. It's a big store. There's room for that.
And there's room enough for a sense of perspective. At Powell's, there is just one shelf for books about Princess Diana.
But over here behind you, we have 4 shelves on the works and life of Winston Churchill.
Statistical analysis and stock market strategies or something like that.
It's finding a way to do something with books that excites people and excites me, and I think it shows respect for the books, and that's what I think makes the difference between an independent bookseller and others that might be in the business.
So if everything's so good here, what's the problem? It's the big chains, Borders to Barnes & Noble, and the expanding internet threat led by Amazon.com. They're knocking at the gate and cutting into Powell's market share. Barnes & Noble is even moving to take over the industry's main distributor, the same book distributor Powell's relies on.
It's guerrilla warfare, but guerrilla warfare sometimes is terribly effective.
Guerrilla warfare.
You can't meet them army to army. You're going to get clobbered. They're $3 billion companies. I can't go out and match them resource for resource. We just have to be more nimble, we have to be smarter, and we have to move quicker.
For starters, Powell's has opened branch stores to protect its Portland turf. 6 in all, including one at the airport and another devoted entirely to technical books. And like the big chains, it's gone online. In fact, Powell's has been on the internet since 1993, carving out a niche in used and out-of-print books. That part of the business is growing 20% a year. Even giant Amazon.com comes here to fill its orders for old volumes.
In the old days, last year, we had to think of what would sell in Portland, Oregon, and drew our parameters around that universe. What we're discovering is that for authors long thought irrelevant, someone in the world thinks they're still a wonderful read, and so it's broadened our perspective on what the world wants in the way of books.
So 26.
Old books. Powell's buys an average of 3,000 every day at the front counter. Rare books, too. At Powell's, there are also weapons in the war against the big chains.
This is a $12,000 book. This one's in very good condition for its for Moby Dick, and we're thrilled to have it. It probably won't have it very long.
A 1676 translation of Thucydides for $500. And for $1,200,
The Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave written by himself, published by the Anti-Slavery Office in Boston in 1845.
But there's stuff here. Tell me that you could go into one of our competitors and pick this up. It was published in Calcutta in 1975, a 2-volume history of modern Nepal.
and Mike Powell's staff are foot soldiers in his guerrilla war against the chain stores. Chris Fotz has been in the trenches for 20 years.
I could not imagine doing anything else. Thoreau once said that the life of the man who spends all his time sitting in a library or in a bookshop, by inference, can be as rich, as exciting, as stimulating, and as hair-raising as that of the man who climbs every mountain in the world and explores every jungle. And I'll tell you right now, from the very bottom of my feet to the very top of my head, that I couldn't agree with him more.
If heaven is bound him for punishment, how could I cut him free?
Even visiting poet Sam Hamill is part of Powell's survival strategy, a strategy that gives the public what they can get nowhere else.
The independent bookseller has been forever the lifeblood of the American writer. And Powell's is one of the great institutions on the West Coast.
You seem passionate about this place.
I'm passionate about books.
So, how goes the book war, you ask? Apparently, very well.
Yep,
Now, is this the area you're knocking out to expand?
that's right. We're going to take out this handsome but limited building, which is 1 story high, and put up a 4-story building, which will add 25,000 square feet of space. For
Mike
retail.
Powell is at it
Top of the
again.
43 we have
His
now, so
dinosaur of a
we'll have
bookstore
58,000
is
when we're done,
still
and that
growing.
will at least give us bragging rights for being the biggest physical bookstore in America. I always believed we're the biggest for number of books, with close to 1 million volumes. But anybody can put 1 million books in a building. The question is, are they 1 million good books? And that's always our challenge.
An author who pursues his or her craft by the book still won't enjoy success unless enough people buy the book. A lesson Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes tells us one respected writer has taken to heart.
These are the Patchett books, and it's funny, we sell a lot of these.
Ann Patchett doesn't just write books like her latest bestseller, Commonwealth. She sells them at Parnassus Books in Nashville, her very own bookstore.
It's very unseemly somehow. The sort of Catholic girl in me is like, oh, I shouldn't be selling my own books. But look, we're selling my own books.
As you might expect from a novelist, there's a good story behind Parnassus Books, and it's one that's bigger than just one bookstore.
You have been called the patron saint of independent bookstores because what
I am.
Well, what does that mean then? What do you mean you are?
Well, it's not just Parnassus Books in Nashville I promote. I really promote independent bookstores.
6 years ago, at a time when bookstores were closing all over America, Anne met Karen Hayes, who had just taken early retirement from a publishing company and decided to partner up. Karen had the experience, but not much money.
So you funded this.
Yeah,
You
and that was
financed
sort
this.
of our deal. Our deal was, I'll pay for everything, you do all the work, and we'll have a 50-50 partnership. And it's really worked. You look around this store, this is all Karen.
Anne isn't just the money bags, though.
I know all the authors, and I have all the connections, and I'm the person who can get Yo-Yo Ma in the store, or, get John Grisham to come, or whatever.
When Yo-Yo Ma came, he brought his cello and played for 25 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Grand.
One of the things indies do to bring people into their stores is have famous authors come and read from their latest book.
And the public became transfixed with the Osage's wealth.
Like David Gran and his bestseller, Killers of the Flower Moon. Readings and signings help the authors and the indies sell books.
I mean, they've really woven themselves into the communities and become these wonderful cultural centers for authors to reach readers and readers to reach authors.
The store has doubled in size since they opened in 2011, even though in the beginning, very few thought they could make it.
Because there were a couple places that just didn't want us. They said, oh, bookstores are dead, you'll go out of business. And they wouldn't rent to us. Ha, are they crying now?
Yeah.
a lot of folks thought independent bookstores were dead.
In fact, that's quite totally untrue.
Orrin Teicher is the head of the American Booksellers Association. He gave us a little history.
There was the rise of the superstores, then the mass merchandisers, and then of course there was the internet. And each year there's been some wave that was going to swallow us. But we're still here.
We went from over 3,000 indie bookstores to only 1,650. But there's been a healthy comeback. There are now 2,300 stores. Yet Amazon still controls about half of all book sales.
Amazon gives huge discounts. It's so easy. You really don't have to get off the couch.
You can't discover books online. When you browse the shelves of a bookstore, you're going to find out about books you didn't know about.
I think that what's happening is that people are missing the community. We're creating an environment that is for a lot more than just selling books. The people who are going to come to my events are going to be, again, my choir.
I have to stop you for 1 second. I'm hearing a dog barking in the background.
Because there's always a dog barking here at Parnassus. Somebody is always barking.
The so-called shop dogs of Parnassus are a big part of the store's homey appeal.
It's part of the draw.
It is. It is. You're not going to get a dog on Amazon. That's
The dogs are a lure for children, whose books amount to 1/4 of sales in all bookstores. Anne was told you must always locate the kids' books in the back of the store.
So I would think, well, that's because you want the parents to walk through the store and shop. No, it's because parents get involved with whatever they're looking at, and kids make a break for it. And you want to have as much distance between the children's section and the front door, because you don't want them running out the front door. You want to have enough area that you can catch them. And it's really true.
You've got to create a place that people want to come to. Lots of stores have restaurants, they have bars associated with them, absolutely. Booze and books, absolutely works.
And books.
No mixing drinks with Dostoevsky at Parnassus. And celebrity is the draw, as is the case with other authors who've opened their own bookstores, like Judy Blume, Garrison Keillor, and Jeff Kinney.
Can I see where you work?
Sure.
Truth is, Anne doesn't spend that much time at the bookstore.
So this is my office.
She spends most of her time at home writing, here in her second-floor office. She's produced 10 books so far about friendship, family, and human nature.
You have admitted that you can't write villains.
Oh, that's true. I am terrible.
And they end up being sweet at the end?
Oh, yeah, I see their point of view. I feel for them. I'm really a total failure at bad people.
What she's great at is showing how everyday people can make the best of a bad situation.
All your books have basically fundamentally the same theme.
Yes. The theme is two groups of strangers are thrown together by circumstance and form a society or a family.
Much like Bel Canto, her most famous book. It's the story of South American terrorists who hold diplomats and an opera singer hostage. It's been staged as an opera and will soon be a movie starring Julianne Moore. Somehow, Ann Patchett managed to turn even a book about terrorists into a love story. We wondered if there was any way she could create a bad guy.
So if you were to write a book about independent bookstores up against some gigantic force from out there, maybe something called Barnes & Noble or something called Amazon, you could probably create a villain.
I couldn't even make Amazon a villain because I think about people in rural Kansas, in tiny towns, in Mississippi, where they don't necessarily have, not only they don't have an independent bookstore, they don't have a Barnes & Noble. So my main thing is I want people to read. So there is a place for all of us. I'm sorry, no villain.
I come across one other store like this in my life, and that was a place called Turret Books in London. That was a long time ago. It's out of business now.
Poetry in this country is largely an art without honor, and it's extraordinary to have a place where one can come and get the books one needs that sells the books of poets.
She's run the store making $50 a week and eating at friends' houses. And anyone who has that kind of determination really has a great love for what they're doing.
Hello, Irfani and Lori.
She is Louisa Solano. Poets aren't inclined to unanimity, but Philip Levine, William Corbett, and David Brennan are one in their praises of the proprietor of the Grolier Bookshop in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It is the oldest poetry shop in the country, and although facts about poets are as hard to find as their out-of-print books, it is probably the only one dealing solely in the works of the group Aristophanes called the eager, meager servants of the Muses.
Yeah, it's the Mississippi Faulkner County Press.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Among the heavyweights who have visited the Grolier are Robert Frost, T.S. Eliot, and Marianne Moore.
I just felt that poets deserved a store that represented their interests and their work. And no other place was willing to do it, and since I care about it, it was natural.
Thank you.
The 10 years of Louisa Solano's ownership have been more important to art than to the IRS. Last year, her weekly take-home pay stayed largely in the path of penury.
Between 100 and 150 a week. Now it's about 175, but basically it's, it's minimum.
Every morning at 7, Louisa quits an East Cambridge apartment she shares with stray animals and sets out for her odd emporium. Louisa Solano deals with poetry in its formal fashion on the printed page, but she seems to hear its resonances in much of the world around her.
When people find out what I do for a living, a lot of people will tell me, I write poetry, but I don't show it to my friends. It happens all the time. I deal with poets all the time. I think they're average people. They can be any kind, any type, any nationality, be housewives, be professors, be mechanics, be taxi cab drivers, be waitresses. It doesn't matter.
The Grolier Bookshop has survived at the edge of Harvard Square for nearly 60 years without selling volumes on how to grow thin, rich, or happy. Louisa Solano keeps it going on the sale of visions, the visions of poets.
I walked into the store when I was 15, started helping the original owner, Gordon Canny, on Saturdays and after school. Supported myself at other jobs and always came back to help him on weekends. When he died in '73, and I was unemployed and without any money whatsoever, 10 of his customers got together, got a bank loan for me, and I got the store. When Gordon died, I had him collect the bills that his dear friends owed him. Only one paid up out of about 60 people. Really? People wrote me letters saying I offended his memory because...
by trying to collect.
Yeah.
That's a good line.
But he did run it more as a club for his cronies, all who happened to be literary people, a number of whom were poets.
I'll read a couple of these. Here's the only poem I've ever known about reading poetry aloud. My poems resemble the bread of Egypt. One night passes over it and you can't eat it anymore.
Robert Bly, a frequent Grolier visitor, autographed some of his books and read aloud from one.
Where a poem belongs is here, in the warmth of the chest. Out in the world, it dies of cold. You've seen a fish. Put him on dry land. He quivers for a few minutes, and then he's still.
In a bakery, one is impelled to bite on a bun. But in a poetry bookshop, one feels the need to burst forth. This burst is from Edna Millay. I drank at every vine, the last was like the first. I came upon no wine so wonderful as thirst. I gnawed at every root, I ate of every plant. I came upon no fruit so wonderful as want. Feed the grape and bean to the vintner and monger. I will lie down lean with my thirst and my hunger.
I think reading poetry is like anything else. The more you do, the more adept at it you become. The more
Among Louisa's favorite books is A.E. Housman's A Shropshire Lad.
When I was 1 and 20, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 1 and 20, no use to talk to me. When I was 1 and 20, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs aplenty, and sold for endless rue. And I am 2 and 20, and 'tis true, 'tis true. Do I write poetry? Yes, I do, and I don't consider it very good. So I don't try to publish it, and I certainly would never, well, I've shown it to a few friends, but not very many. But I find the store, I find talking about poetry almost as good as writing it sometimes.
Looking down from the walls which on occasion sheltered them are William Carlos Williams, Ezra Pound, and Robert Lowell. Perhaps John Keats spoke for all the poets when he said, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but still will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing.
It's not easy to get to the little town of Hay-on-Wye, snuggled into the tidy valley of the Wye River, right on the border between England and Wales. Hay-on-Wye is not only remote, it requires a journey of body and spirit to get here.
Now we're going to cross over the pedestrian crossing and down through Backfold here.
Yet every year, thousands have set out on this trek in search not only of the charms of rural Britain, not just to see the sights, listen to the music, or even to Britain's poet laureate.
Her heart lurched again when she saw how his blush bewildered his beauty, like the red side of an apple against a sunset.
They come in search of something else. For Hay is not built merely of bricks and stones. It's also built out of books and words. It's been called the largest secondhand bookstore in the world. The old fire station, the old theater, the old butchers and bakers, and probably the old candlestick makers, they're all bookstores now.
Now, what was Kilvert? He was lonely.
In this electronic age of email and the web, this is a journey in celebration of the printed word. Here, people follow in the footsteps of obscure 19th century diarists like Francis Kilvert, who lived and wrote here.
That was his sitting room.
David Lockwood's Kilvert Walk is always a hot ticket.
I lingered in the veranda before going to bed. The air was as soft and warm as a summer night, and there was not a sound except the clink and trickle of the brook.
It seems to be a celebration of the printed word on the page, an idea we thought had pretty well come and gone.
I don't think it's come and gone. I don't think it'll ever go, do you? I hope not.
You think this idea of email and people relying on television, what have you, is a bit overrated?
I think so, a little, yes. And I honestly don't know very much about it.
And if they needed more enticement, the reading public has been drawn here by an annual literary festival, a place where famous authors muse before their anonymous readers about why and how they write.
It was the idea of showing something of Victorian society. It seemed to me that I could show something more than the usual upstairs, downstairs drama.
American author Martin Cruz Smith was here, explaining why he's abandoned the Gorky Park world of Russian policemen and written a current bestseller called Rose, about a woman who worked in the grim coal mines of Victorian England.
But I was also getting a little fed up with people coming up and asking me, what are you going to do now that the Cold War is over? As if I'd been, as if I were Gorbachev.
A world of the author as celebrity, signing books like ball players sign baseballs.
How many did I write?
And considering picking up ball player habits.
It's amazing how dumb authors are. Every ball player knows that he can get, $35 a signature. And here we are just tossing out our signatures as if they were nothing.
Well, now that you're into the age of celebrity, you're going to have to change the way you do these things, I guess.
This is rather attractive round here, isn't it? Let's see. Now, which shop do you want to go to, Joyce, for your bread?
I'm going up the road opposite now.
You never know who you'll run into on Hay's cobbled lanes. This is P.D. James and her friend Joyce. P.D., now Baroness James, may look like just another literary tourist, but she's a detective story writer with a worldwide following. For her, a tour through Hay's bookstores is like a fine jeweler visiting a gold mine.
Be careful on those stairs, Joyce.
Yes.
It's a very good Milton here. Wonderful to get this quality of paper, the old books, Joyce.
Yes, it is.
And the binding.
So much better.
It's one of the saddest things now.
Yet not everything here is a treasure. This is also a town where books get bought and sold by the carload. Books not as art, but as stuff.
I have heard that some people come here who want to furnish libraries and do, in fact, don't buy their books individually, but buy them by the yard. I want 6 yards or 6 meters of books, or 5 meters of leather-bound books.
It's hard to figure if they're readers or decorators, I suppose.
Indeed, sometimes it's hard to figure out, I think.
Bye-bye. Oh.
As with so many things in life, you can take the brighter or the dimmer view of this place. Either this is a town full of literary work that's being passed on to a new readership, or it's a graveyard for the written word. After all, every book in this place is one someone else no longer wanted. People here trade in remainders futures. And a world where authors moan that the hardest part of their job is not the writing, it's the selling of their work. Do you sit around with others and bemoan what you have to now do to promote your books?
We absolutely hate it. I think that perhaps new young writers don't mind it so much. But I have yet to meet any of the older writers who don't absolutely loathe it.
Perhaps it was only natural that in this world where art meets commerce, this year's festival ended with 2 kinds of fireworks, the normal kind and the argumentative kind.
On the one hand, we're being told here tonight that American culture is so overwhelming, so potent, so powerful, that simply putting on a pair of Levi's and eating a hamburger transforms you into someone from New Jersey.
A debate. Resolved, it is the duty of every European to resist American culture.
Lawyers, oh yeah, lawyers, millions of them, all busily fomenting discord and hatred. Geraldo, Ricky Lake, the worst cars on the planet, Harvard Business School.
Much was made of hamburgers, blue jeans, and Mickey Mouse. But the ultimate American argument was supplied by an Indian-born British writer with the death sentence on his head, courtesy of the Iranian Ayatollahs, Salman Rushdie.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itchy as a bug on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting queer as a pub. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Well, he didn't resist that very well, if I may say so.
In other words, it's all irresistible. And so, it seems, is this annual tour through the hills and valleys, through the lanes and bookstalls, through the words and thoughts of Hay-on-Wye.
My title this afternoon is Emma, Considered as a Detective Story.
Literature is not for the young. Literature is for the old, the experienced, the wounded, the damaged.
Out on County Road K in the middle of nowhere in central Wisconsin, Lloyd and Lenore Dickman grow wheat, soybeans, and corn, but their fastest growing crop is books. You'd never know it, but down this drive, Lloyd and Lenore have one of the biggest bookstores in America.
I mean, are people shocked when they come in here and see all these books?
They're just completely overwhelmed.
They don't know how many titles they actually have and don't care really, but estimates range up to 1 million, which is way, way more than even the largest of the chain stores.
How do you compare your bookshop to Barnes & Noble?
We have more titles, we feel.
And you don't serve coffee.
No coffee.
You don't advertise.
Don't advertise.
You've got a terrible business location. How come you've never put a sign out on the road or anything?
We want people that are interested in books, and they'll find us. Have you been here before?
No, I haven't, but I heard about it from my sister-in-law who was here a couple weeks ago from Iowa. So.
Oh, wonderful.
What are your hours of operation?
Every Saturday, 9 to 5, and any time by chance, and any time by appointment.
Their motto seems to be, "You'll never find us," and we're rarely open.
Can you make a living running a bookstore like this?
I don't think so. I don't know. And you'll see the Great Gatsby, Old Pioneers, Huckleberry Finn.
How many buildings out here on the farm have books in them?
Well, the one we're sitting in is the Book Lodge, and next door is the bookshop, and then that way, a book shed.
I bought this for something else, but then Lenore thought she needed it.
Oh my God. This is the size of some libraries right here.
Yeah.
And then up closer to our house is another book shed.
Boathouse.
It's called the Boathouse, yes. And then I have the King Arthur House, which is a private collection of mine. And he has a private collection in an 1800 schoolhouse.
No, there ain't too many in here. It's not too bad. There's room for more. Well, then the old house.
Oh, our old house.
And then Chelsea House down the road.
Where my mother used to live. We have to get those emptied.
And then the back sheds is
Oh,
got a
yes.
big store.
Oh, yes.
And then the upper shed.
The main bookstore in this sprawling complex is Castle Arkdale, a bookstore that Lloyd fashioned from a slurry tank where he stored tons of cow manure for fertilizer.
Well, I was just floored when he said I could have the slurry store because I knew what was in there. Cow droppings to the top.
Are you the queen of the castle?
I might be, I don't know.
Oh my goodness gracious. Lloyd, on a hot August day, do you still get a whiff on occasion of what it used to be?
No.
Now, if a big bookstore in a manure tank seems unlikely, well, the couple might seem a bit unlikely too. Lenore, the college professor, and Lloyd, the farmer.
She let me do the farm, and I let her do her teaching, you know, so it worked out pretty good for us.
They met in Milwaukee, and when Lloyd wanted to farm, she went along with him. Lloyd gets choked up just thinking about it.
And we went to the realtor, and
Yeah.
we want to buy the farm.
And when she wanted to get her PhD, he went along with her.
He said, well, I'll sell the cows and go with you. He did all the typing, he did all the cooking, and it worked out real well, and I made it.
Lloyd went back to farming, and when Lenore retired from teaching, she opened her bookshop.
I've never seen a book I didn't like, and I read in the morning before I start my day, and I read in the evening before I fall asleep.
She displays most books conveniently face up, atop old quilts, and in her own eclectic categories far outside the Dewey Decimal System.
These are literary critters.
Oh,
And
lots of Lassie books.
yes, yes. And here are books that are
Banned
banned.
books.
Yeah,
That's
they're banned
interesting.
for many reasons, whether it's a social
Wow.
reason or a sexual reason or a moral reason.
Book titles that make her laugh.
When will Jesus bring the pork chops? This table are the 100 best books of all time, according to one editor. And to me, this is the most crucial table of any table in here. If a child knows 8 nursery rhymes, by the time the child is 4 years old, that child will be an excellent reader when he's 8 years old.
Is that right?
Yes.
Now this is interesting. You could Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
If you just had Cliff Notes on all these books, you could have a much smaller area. You'd have room
Yes,
for more.
I could. Yes, I could.
Although it might seem unnecessary at this point, Lloyd still goes hunting and gathering books.
Is this the reason you got a big car? To haul-
Yeah, we can get a lot of books in there.
How many can you get in the car?
A total altogether is 1,500. But we loose pack them though.
1,500?
Yeah.
I mean, some people would say you've got enough books.
Well, you never have enough because there's always something in another book that you haven't read before.
With Lloyd bringing in more books than they can sell, given their isolationist marketing plan, Lenore will be needing even more space.
He's going to give me 1/3 of his tractor building.
Oh, is this the one she's going to take over?
Yeah,
1/3 of it.
Surely in one of the million books around here, it must say something like, "Greater love hath no man than to give up his garage and clean out his manure tank for another," or words to that effect.
Hungry minds will find all the nourishment they need at the spot Steve Hartman is taking us to.
We are ready.
When the doors open on this unassuming warehouse in Baltimore, folks flood in with buckets and baskets and boxes, everyone eager for their weekly sustenance.
Thank you very much.
Russell Wattenberg is the man in charge, and over the past 17 years, he has catered to thousands of hungry minds.
Everybody finding what they're looking for?
Russell calls this the book thing, because it's not a library, and it's definitely not a store.
You got a lot of books, but I don't see a cash register.
Don't got one.
No cash register.
All free. It cuts down on robberies. We encourage shoplifters.
Yeah, you've been in the comedy section.
Thank you. Supplied by donations and run by volunteers, here you can take and keep whatever books you want. As many books as you want. And people do hoard, although often for very good reason.
Everything's going back to my classroom.
Kim Shibley is a regular.
I'm a teacher in a Baltimore City school, and I stock all the classrooms with these books.
The place really is a gift to the city. And like any gift that's been around a while, there was no way for the people of Baltimore to fully appreciate it until it was gone.
The number of people who came up to me with tears streaming down their face, I didn't realize people cared as much as they do.
In March of 2016, fire destroyed the book thing. For many small nonprofits, there would be no climbing back from such a devastating loss.
But in the days that followed, the people of Baltimore responded with cash donations and fundraisers and more than a few books. There are 7,000 boxes of books here now, all just waiting to be freed from their cardboard confines.
The book thing reopened last month, and no one is taking it for granted anymore, especially not Russell.
I don't have the patience to teach somebody to read. I don't have the diligence to be a writer. The only way I see to contribute the written word is by doing this.
Russell Wattenberg. That name may never grace a cover, but he's already one of America's literary greats.
Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. The late Mr. Justice Black, a man who despised pornography and who never looked at it, even in the form of evidence before the Supreme Court, nevertheless voted always to uphold the legality of dirty books because he explained he assumed the founders of the country meant what they said. In this field, Congress shall make no law. Anything that may be thought of may also be written down. What do you think? Here's a story from Richard Wagner about what they think in one American town.
I'm against that type of business in my town. This is our town. If they want to put it in Braintree, put it in Braintree. But I take a piece from the paper, from the town meeting in Norwell. And the town meeting in Norwell said, we don't want it in our town, period. And that's all I've got to say about it. Thank you.
I don't want it in my town, and I've spoken to a lot of people who are members of my community, and they all say they don't want an adult entertainment zone.
It is the will of the townspeople, as expressed by their town meeting members, that they are unilaterally opposed to the existence of pornography materials in our town.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor will signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted unanimously.
The scene of this constitutional conflict is the annual town meeting in Stoughton, Massachusetts, a town of 27,000 people just south of Boston. The town was named for Massachusetts Chief Justice William Stoughton, the man who presided over the Salem witchcraft trials. Now, 3 centuries later, Stoughton residents see witchcraft again, in the form of an adult bookstore in the center of their town square. They've picketed the store every day it's been open since last August. Inside is the sexually explicit material that this is all about.
They were aware that it was going to be an adult bookstore. We said this, we filled this in the application, an adult bookstore, and we listed the particular items that we'd be selling.
Store operator William Tortolani spoke with us but would not appear on camera.
It's not that we tried misleading anyone. If there was opposition at that time, we would not have opened this store.
But there was opposition.
Once they have a chance to look at it, it could very possibly bring out the animal in them, to be crude about it.
Selectman Roy Cohen led the fight.
All of a sudden, we're reading about an awful lot of rapes that are taking place in the state of Massachusetts, and I have to believe that this type of material feeds the rapists with the desire to quench whatever thirst that they've developed as a result of reading it.
On the other side was Ken Tatarian, the bookstore's attorney.
If we allow the majority view to run a legitimate business out of town and to put somebody out of business because of the content of what he's expressing, we're permitting the First Amendment and all that it stands for to be undermined through indirect means in a way that cannot be done through direct means.
Tatarian had to get a court order to allow the store to open for business. Picketing started 2 days before the store opened. There was a candlelight vigil which attracted almost 4,000 demonstrators. A Save Our Stoughton rally in September presented politicians with an issue and an audience.
And I can assure you that if this bookstore had come to Coolidge Corner in our town, we would be doing exactly what you have done here in Stoughton.
Michael Dukakis was elected governor of Massachusetts 2 months after addressing this rally.
Now, the people who are running this bookstore may argue that this is a fight about freedom of expression. Well, I believe deeply in freedom of expression, and I believe strongly in the Bill of Rights. But that's not what this is all about. Because our courts do not give anyone, and have never given anyone, a constitutional right to sell hardcore pornography in the heart of a residential community.
None other than Golden Boy. Come on, girls, come on!
In fact, the community already was angry. A strip joint featuring nude male and female dancers has been operating just 500 feet from Stoughton Square for the last 4 years. The dancers attract customers to Stoughton from all over the Boston area.
Why doesn't SOS picket that kind of activity?
Believe me, we're not happy about it, but the way we feel is that the stuff that's in there stays there. It's not checking out, it's not getting onto school buses, it's not getting into the schools.
And if you find that there is no one standard, no single standard in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you must find these films not to be obscene, and you must find the defendants not guilty.
In January, a jury was asked to decide if William and Donald Tortolani, co-operators of the store, were guilty of disseminating obscene material. Attorney Tatarian introduced evidence that material virtually identical to that sold by the Tortolani brothers was available in at least 25 other southern Massachusetts towns. In less than 3 hours, the jury was back.
William Tortolani and Donald Tortolani are not guilty. So say you, Madam Foreperson. So say you all. We thank you.
We never felt we were violating the law, and I think the jury decision proves this.
The jury's decision was condemned by many residents of Stoughton. But popularity was not the issue here. At issue were First Amendment constitutional rights of freedom of expression. The jury decided the material sold was not obscene, and no matter what many of Stoughton's residents thought, the bookstore remained open. The legal system of the United States had spoken. Norfolk County District Attorney Bill Delahunt's staff prosecuted the case. Interestingly, Delahunt is a strong advocate of First Amendment rights.
I would suggest to you that, the picketing, if you will, or the marching in front of that store probably signifies what is also good and positive about the democratic system. And that, to me, is what it's all about. That's the American way.
Practicing the American way and exercising their constitutional rights, the pickets ignored the finding of the jury and walked all winter. And they're still walking.
6 jurors found him innocent. We didn't.
Having lost in court, SOS members admit they're now waging an economic war against the bookstore.
Yeah, that's one of our hopes here, that by picketing and by continuing to picket, that we can hurt them financially.
During this battle, SOS led a campaign that changed Massachusetts law. Formerly, obscenity was judged on a statewide basis. Now, a narrower, individual county standard is in effect. But that's no assurance the bookstore will be closed down. Not everyone in Stoughton belongs to SOS.
I think the man in there has the right to run that store.
But I think that we all have the right to put up any kind of business that we want to, no matter what it is. It's our constitutional right,
For their part, SOS members remain committed.
I've marched the day before he opened up, and I will be here the day he closes. Hopefully soon.
SOS may get its wish. Last week, District Attorney Delahunt, using the new Massachusetts law, charged William Tortolani with 16 new criminal counts of disseminating obscenity. In those long-ago witchcraft trials, those found guilty were executed. William Tortolani faces up to 20 years. Unlike the unfortunate victims of 1692, should William Tortolani be tried on these charges, he'll be judged using the guarantees of the Constitution of the United States, not the opinions of his neighbors. Again, District Attorney Bill Delahunt, the man who has decided, again, to prosecute William Tortolani.
In my judgment, the First Amendment, if you will,
is the soul and the being of a democratic system and a democratic process. And any encroachments upon the First Amendment, the freedom to speak, the freedom to read, the freedom to discourse, the freedom to assembly, the freedom of religion, once those freedoms are impinged upon, then we as a society are in real serious trouble and difficulty.
The next chapter of a beloved bookstore is being written by thousands of loyal customers. Califasane has the fine print.
Would you like to see our most expensive book?
Do you have a layaway plan?
This copy of Ulysses, signed by both author James Joyce and illustrator Henri Matisse, can be yours for $45,000.
When's it from?
1935.
So it's almost as old as this bookshop.
Almost, yes.
At 93 years old, the Strand is a New York institution. 4 floors of books, chosen by staff members who have to pass a literary test before being hired. But it's also a family tradition.
My grandpa was a real bookman, as was my dad, but my dad had a very good business sense.
Nancy Bass Wyden is a third-generation owner of the store in Greenwich Village. But the book trade has never been easy.
How cutthroat was it back then?
Well, there was one store called the cheapest bookstore in the world, so...
Still, the Strand endured through the Great Depression, World War II, 9/11.
Even Amazon we were fine against, but this COVID has really knocked our socks off.
That's true for stores all over the country.
So these are the ones that I like. You know, they're really durable.
But for some independent bookshops, there's a secret weapon, a community of readers that wants them to survive.
We opened it up based upon our experience of raising our children, these girls here.
In St. Louis, Missouri, Jeffrey and Pamela Blair created EyeSeeMe, an African-American children's bookstore, 5 years ago.
Representation matters, and having my children see themselves in the books that they read really helped them become self-motivated about learning, and they did extremely well through school, and then we continue to see those benefits.
The shop opened amid protests over the police shooting of a local 18-year-old, Michael Brown. Suddenly, everyone wanted what EyeSeeMe was selling.
People that were not African American, they want to expose themselves and their children to know more about African American cultures. All children need to see more representation in the books of other people to dispel like a lot of stereotypes and things like that.
But in April, during the pandemic, the store began to struggle. In an effort to hold on, Blair started a GoFundMe campaign.
Just let people know honestly what was going on with us.
Was that a moment when you had to kind of swallow some pride?
100%. We felt like it was our last resort. Even before we pressed the button, it's like, I don't really want to do this.
And what was the reaction like when you put up this plea on GoFundMe?
We reached our goal within a week, 25,000. The community really showed up for us.
There's so many institutions that are closing or closed, and this is one place that I cannot imagine New York without.
2 weeks ago, the Strand posted a plea for help, and the whole world responded.
In 48 hours, we received 25,000 internet orders. Now, in a typical day, we'll receive 300 internet orders.
By then, Wyden had already furloughed most of the Strand's 216 employees. Even though she owns the building and got a loan from the government's CARES Act, by this fall, the losses were mounting.
Asking a business to sustain 8 months of sales at a 30% level is, you can't, it's a marathon.
And how many people are working here now?
We have 79 people, and we are quickly rehiring.
And this one's going to Switzerland. Wow.
Rehiring can't come soon enough for shipping clerks like Uzadima, who faces a crush of orders each day.
The more it piles up, that's more jobs.
Right.
You know, that's more of our friends, more of our coworkers who come back, so everybody's happy.
The store is counting on more than books to keep customers interested. including magnets, face masks, and totes, all designed to appeal to holiday shoppers.
So the holiday bump is really important for this shop?
It's essential. It's essential for us and all independent bookstores.
And both EyeSeeMe's Jeffrey Blair and the Strand's Nancy Bass-Wyden hope their season of good tidings continues and spreads.
What do you know about running a bookstore now that you didn't know a year ago?
How wonderful the Strand community is, and I just treasure them even more than ever.
Nestled in the northern Catskills, the tiny village of Hobart, New York, is home to around 400 residents and millions of fascinating characters. Scarlett O'Hara and Captain Ahab, mechanical men and Victorian women, all stacked high on shelves. Hobart is a book village. Within one brief block of Main Street, there are 7 different bookstores.
Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your treasure hunt in the book village. Thank you.
When Kathy Dwyer retired, she moved to Hobart to surround herself with beautiful scenery and plenty of books. She initially had no intention of selling them. She was buying them.
For about the first 2 years we were here, we were the best customers of the book village that they'd ever had.
But she and her husband eventually opened 2 small shops, one that sells cooking and crafting books, and another focused on all aspects of New York.
We really try not to overlap very much on what we carry so that there's something different in every shop.
There's a shop that specializes in mysteries. Behind the children's library, another shop stocks niche travel books. The village was inspired by Hay-on-Wye, a thriving Welsh book town that's become a world-renowned destination for bibliophiles. Had you ever been to Hay-on-Wye?
No.
Are you a big book guy?
No.
And yet?
I'm kind of an entrepreneur, though.
Don Dales grew up near Hobart, which was once a key supply stop for the surrounding agricultural industry. When he moved back to the area 2.5 decades ago, times had changed.
This town was a ghost town. I always say that tumbleweed was going down Main Street. It was depressing.
Dales purchased several buildings on Main Street. Around that same time, a couple from Manhattan moved to town and opened the William H. Adams Antiquarian Bookstore. Dales thought there might actually be strength in numbers, so he started turning his buildings into more bookstores.
And I went out and I bought a lot of books and a lot of lumber and made a lot of bookshelves.
Old books gave Hobart a new identity and new residents, like retired professors Barbara Ballier and Cheryl Clark, the proprietors of Blenheim Hill Books.
I think Barbara had always fantasized about having a bookstore because of her love of books. I did it. I just wanted to retire.
Clark knows a thing or two about books. She's published several collections of her poetry. She also knows a lot of writers.
Welcome everyone to the 11th annual Hobart Festival of Women Writers.
Clark co-founded an annual weekend of female-focused readings and workshops in Hobart.
In the second stanza, the second line, the phrase that I used was, "This precious, this hateful earth."
Writers and readers now make pilgrimages to Hobart, in part for what the town represents.
Oh, hey, you found something?
Hey, yeah.
They like to feel like they're in a place where books matter. Because I think a lot of people are in places where books don't matter. And so when they come here, they're so happy. Really, I found it quite strange at first. It's like, okay.
But quite moving.
Very moving, yeah.
You won't find all the latest bestsellers in Hobart. Almost everything here is secondhand. And nobody here is getting rich. For the shop owners, these stores are a labor of love, a new chapter in their lives.
Like mysterious?
I do, yes.
Does this look mysterious?
It looks pretty mysterious to me. What do we got? Ulysses Moore. Just $2 will get you a book and a cookie at Mihaly Asgharian's table at the Hobart Farmers Market. Who knows? He may one day open the village's 8th bookstore.
So I think this will
Don Dales thinks there's still room to grow.
People like a book. They like to see them on the shelves. They like to see the spine of the book and say, oh, I remember that book. That was a wonderful book. And besides, a home without books, that's a boring home, unless it has a cat.
You might say our Steve Hartman story this morning speaks volumes.
In Chelsea, Michigan, the local bookstore has quite a story of its own.
I'm bringing this out.
A story that began when Michelle Tuplin, owner of Serendipity Books, decided to relocate her business to a larger space.
I knew it was going to be great.
But you didn't know how you were going to get the books over.
No, the actual logistics, the details, not so much.
And she had 9,000 books. Of course, she could have carried them all, but have you ever tried moving book boxes? Good luck lifting anything after. She could have hired a hero with a truck, but that was cost prohibitive. So how then did she hope to move all these volumes to their new homes? Like this, like a bucket brigade, but with books instead.
At this point, you should know, it's not like she was moving next door. Follow me. The new location was down the block, then around the corner, down another 200 feet, past 10 other storefronts to here. Making it work would require a good chunk of the town to volunteer.
Well, that was the math thing that I never quite figured out. So I thought, okay, well, we'll just ask for help, cross our fingers and hope for the best.
With no idea how many people would show up.
No.
And so it was. With that blind faith, Michelle showed up to move her bookstore last month and found this. Enough volunteers to stretch the whole way twice. 2 lines made up of more than 300 volunteers.
It was overwhelming.
For those of us who can't even get close friends to help us move, this defies logic. But folks in Chelsea say they were craving something that day. Community. In our divided country, here was a gathering, neither rally nor protest.
I just felt uplifted.
It just made you feel good.
Such a happy atmosphere.
All generations, all together working towards something.
And exactly what life, I think, should be.
As for Michelle, she says it completely restored her faith in humanity.
I think there's a basic trust that people are generally good, and that was massively emotional.
Does all this make you want to move again?
Oh, I'm never moving again.
So, no sequel.
This is our forever home.
But still,
Now we're talking.
a literary masterpiece.
There we go.